What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to the Second Street Marvel, where today we are going to get into a spoiler discussion about Ms. Marvel Episode 4 with my esteemed colleague Chillmonger. In this week's episode, we see Kamala head to Karachi. They're going to Pakistan. Along with her mother, they're going to learn a little bit more about this bangle that her grandmother had sent to her. We're going to learn and meet the Red Dagger. The Red Dagger? And as well as learn a little bit more about these bangles and even the Noor dimension. But before we get into that, if you're not already, please make sure you're subscribed. Click the little bell and all that good stuff. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Give it a thumbs down if you don't. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But while you're at it, make sure you share it out with a friend and invite them to come hang out with us here on the Second Street Marvel, where we like to talk about these shows with my esteemed colleague Chillmonger, who we are bringing on right now. Chillmonger, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good, ready to talk my least favorite show episode of this show.
Ooh, least favorite. What a way to start the show. Well, thank you so much for being here, taking the time out of your day to spend here with me and our channel subscribers. If you guys aren't subscribed to Chillmonger, if you're here, you should definitely go do that. And if you're here and you're not subscribed to him, just click the unsubscribe button right now. I'm kidding. But if you're not subscribed to him, there's a link down in the description. That's a level of
commitment I didn't know we were at. That's nice to know. Yeah,
that's where we're at. That's where we're at. But there is a link down in the description. If you're not and you don't want to unsubscribe from me, you can go down there, follow Chillmonger, check out his videos. Yesterday he just did 33 burning questions. He had a great panel of guests on. He does that every Saturday, so make sure you go check him out. But other than your initial thought there, I mean, what are your broader thoughts on episode 4 of Ms.
Some
Marvel?
of my criticisms of the entire show was that we're taking a break from like a story about Kamala Khan, her bangles that she got, the mystery of the superpowers, and we're taking a break to go see the family, to go discover the religion, discover things about the culture, and showcase that. This entire episode was more of that than I've seen in the other 3 episodes. We've had a lot of just hey, biryani, it's spicy. Okay, so like, what does that mean though? Why was that part of the show at all? Had nothing to do with her superpowers. She was supposed to go over there to meet with her grandma. And what the heck is this thing that you sent me? You know, like in the 15th minute, I think is when of the episode is when that conversation actually took place. That was a long time. Well, they wanted to show us the city. They wanted to see the family members. Here is your cousin. She has 2 cousins, a boy and a girl cousin. Did they really add to the story though? Come on now. And when the mom hugged the cousin at the airport, that was a quick hug. Come on now. You traveled all that time. You gotta justify. You gotta hug that hard, long hug, just so you can make that cost of the plane ticket make sense. You're not just gonna, oh hey, now it's your turn. That was, I don't know. And now I'm nitpicking, I know, but still, that was not very accurate. Okay, people who travel hug longer.
I'll take some warm hugs from Miss Khan, but that's just me. Just saying.
Ooh, he likes that Muniba. Hey.
But yeah, and I think getting into this episode, I mean, and I know that's something you've kind of talked about as well, is like they're showing a bunch of the culture, and even like with some of like the religion and stuff, they're showing how you felt like it was kind of like it's going a little bit too far, where they're like not necessarily pushing agenda, but putting that like a little kind of on the nose and out front. And I think, again, they did a lot of that in this episode as well. And I know in the past few weeks, we've kind of talked about, like, I like seeing some of that culture kind of stuff and seeing that. And even, like Mike Porter, kind of enjoys seeing that same thing too. But I do think at this point, throughout this, we got 6 episodes here. Like, it's cool to do some of that, but we don't really have the time for that in 6 episodes, or at least that much of it. Because now, I mean, we've got a good 2 episodes full of a lot of the kind of culture stuff, the religion stuff, and then and basically during both of these episodes where they did a lot of this, they did a bunch of info dump kind of stuff for the story with the Bangles or family and things like that as well. From what I've noticed, and it's definitely getting pretty heavy on that.
Yeah, the info dump with the Bengal, that first conversation that Kamala has with her, with Sana, was like She's done talking to her. Sana was like, "Well, this, and that. I'm gonna go downstairs now." And I was waiting, and I was waiting for her to turn around and be like, "Oh yeah, there's more." But that didn't happen. It was like a 3-minute talk that you guys did face to face that you could have handled on a FaceTime. That nothing, no information that was shared really like was, "Oh, I couldn't tell you this on the phone," but it wasn't long enough either. It was so poor. There was another talk that her mom, Muniba, and Sana had. So it was just them chatting, and they would switch from the Urdu language and then back to the English language. But then I had to ask myself, what's going on here? So in the Black Panther movie, there were plenty of times everyone's just speaking English. They're in Wakanda, they're speaking English. My brain told me, oh, the film is just translating it for me. Because, obviously they're speaking in their natural language, but so the audience at home knows that it looks like it's English. That's how I interpreted that scene, okay? The thing is, when you switch between Urdu and English, then that you can't say that stuff anymore. So why was Muniba speaking in her like second language when she was at home with her mom, of all things? Like that was so bizarre to me, and that's another fault of the show. They wanted to show you a little bit of culture, but they didn't really understand the consequences of what that would mean if you would use another language.
Right.
Not to mention wearing jeans in Karachi because it's too hot. Not to mention all of the times that they talked about food in this episode. It was crazy. The amount they look. Did you see the market? You see how isn't that cool? Remember when they went to the museum? They showed you like the colonial. What was it? They showed you some history lessons of the culture. They even said themselves, "Okay, history lesson is over." I was like, "Yeah, exactly. This is a big a step away from what the plot of the movie is supposed to be, where you only got 6 episodes, which are 40 minutes, and you're using it to tell me this is the city of lights, Karachi." Ugh.
Yeah, they are doing a little too much with the culture stuff and all that thing for having 6 episodes. And like I said, I like seeing this stuff, but at some point we got to move on and get past some of these things. Like you're even saying, she was sitting there talking to her grandmother, and just the way some of the conversations go. And I was even, you were even talking yesterday about how there is kind of a lot of those kinds of things that they keep doing and showing and explaining in the show that for the most part is pretty unnecessary, like the ABCs.
Yeah, you mean the American-born confused Daisies?
Yeah.
Listen, if you're gonna say that to her, and then you're gonna explain the letters and what they all represent, and then she goes, "I know what that means." Then why did you wait for him to explain the definition of each of the letters? Why? Why the whole acronym needed to be said? What it all stands for? You could have just said, "I know what it means." As soon as he started, oh well, A stands for. But you know why they did that? So that you, the audience, could hear what an ABCD is. Now we just taught you guys that that's how people talk. They actually say that. There's terminology that you're now aware of. We're letting you know about the slang over there in the Desi culture. We're Marvel. Like, it was not your job, Marvel. Your job is to make a kick-ass show. When you casted Iman Vellani, you succeeded in your representation quota. All you needed to do was not misrepresent. All you needed to do was just not give her like a Chinese family, and you did that too. You did nicely. Everyone casted as nice. You had a traditional wedding. They say assalamu alaikum here and there. You're doing an authentic job. Now let's get a story. We didn't need to take a break for all of those little educational messages. There's so many I'm forgetting. Thank you for reminding me about the ABCD slang.
Yeah, and that's because kind of one of the things, like like they're obviously doing that for I wouldn't even say dumbing it down, but explaining it for whatever reason. Like we don't have Urban Dictionary or Google out there to go look these things up in the first place. But I guess maybe it's for the most part because like my mother, if she watches this show, she's not gonna know what they're talking about.
When they do that and they explain it to the audience, it gets so uncool. If you don't
Right.
explain it, you know that we're on Disney Plus, right? The method we're watching this is the internet.
Hmm.
You can just go ABCD, see the Urban Dictionary, and go, oh, okay. Or we'll wait for the Screen Crush video by Ryan Airy, and we'll go, oh, okay. But they want it to be Screen Crush, and they want it to be Marvel.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. But other than that, again, we do have throughout the episode, since they do so much of this culture stuff, more this info dump type of stuff where like feeds into again more of I guess my kind of my theories and everything. But here when she meets the Red Dagger. Red Dagger? What
Yeah,
what's the is that the kid's
his name was
name?
Kareem was the name of the young
Okay.
one. The older one was J- Jaheim. No, I don't know his name. Sorry, I don't
Yeah.
remember the older.
And they were part
However,
of the Red
he
Daggers.
he won't be in episode 5. Don't worry.
Right.
Mhm.
So they get there and she sees them, they put up a little bit of a fight. And it's very interesting. Like he says that he sensed the Noor where the God, what was it, her I guess not her aunt, but the
Nejma, Nejma.
yeah. Yeah, where she said that they sensed the bangle itself when she first used it. They sensed I can't remember. They worded it different, but it's like they're both sensing the same thing, but the different things that they're sensing when the bangle is being used by Kamala. Um what they said, did they say the light maybe? I can't remember how exactly they put it with what they sense, but very interesting when it comes to those kinds of things. And then she gets there, and they show her this map.
Uh-huh.
That map was very
And it
interesting, and
overlapped what happens in our world. The same like map that we have is their
right.
map too, except sometimes where we got water, they have land. Where we have land, they have water. And there's this secret world. Remember when she put on that bangle and everything was blue? I
Hmm.
think that's when she transferred over to that map. Maybe it was the negative zone. Maybe they'll have their own word for it. The Noor dimension is what it is.
Right.
What they're using. That's where the clandestines are from.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think.
and yeah, I was gonna say it's very interesting because I don't know much about the clandestines, but definitely here, after we see this, it does make you really feel like that's what we're looking at when she first put on the bangle and kind of fell backwards into that and then back out of it. That's obviously kind of that crossing over where they start getting into the discussion of that where it very much sounds just like what we heard about in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, what they explained as incursions. Although I feel it's a little bit different than the actual incursions because this would be basically just another dimension, not necessarily the colliding of two different timelines or other multiverses, if you will, colliding into each other. But it very much sounds like the same thing.
Uh-huh.
What
Yeah.
what do you make? What do you make of all that?
Same thing. It's exactly what you just put it as. It's the incursions. It's the supernatural part of the show that I'm waiting for it to happen. That might actually be furthered when we talk about Ten Rings. When we talk about Captain Marvel's inclusion. When we talk about maybe the Fantastic Four. This is the part of the show which has substance and it's theory inducing.
Yes, yes, definitely so. Because, excuse me. Um, like I said, I think it's very interesting that, like obviously towards the end of the show, where she uses the bangle and ends up going back in time to obviously it looks like it was the time of partition, and she gets there. So essentially, time traveled. Like, is she back in that
Yeah.
time, or is this part of another dimension? Do you think?
No, I think it's time travel. I think that the way that her grandmother, Aisha, got home was she followed the stars. Kamala knows that story. When it's time for Aisha to go home, she's going to turn on her bangles. She's going to point it at the sky and create some stars for her grandmother, Aisha, to go home. There will be a loop of time because it'll tightly knit itself up. She'll find her way back home, and that's episode 5. They're gonna spend a little bit more time on culture. They're gonna teach you a little bit of history. Okay, there's gonna be these mean Great Britain army soldiers, but that's what'll happen.
Yes, definitely. And there's definitely a lot of things to be that we could get into when it comes to those kinds of things as well. But definitely one thing like you're saying is with the how basically using the bangle to kind of find their way back home and things. People are trying to figure out like how that works, and I believe the explanation for all that we got a while back from Ant-Man and Wasp even to Endgame, where you go into Ant-Man and Wasp. That was basically how Janet Van Dyne got back to how she gave them the signal. Because remember they were how was it they put it when they were tracing, it's basically like tracing a call, just like finding like a pinging tower or whatnot and finding exactly where she's at, and they
Hmm.
calculated that and they made all those calculations to get there in the Ant-Man and the Wasp to get into that particular dimension, if you will. and then I feel like obviously that's kind of what led to Tony Stark in Endgame being able to do that same thing, where he created, the space time GPS,
Oh
which
yeah.
kind of just further took the work that Hank Pym was doing, which is kind of messed up, man. It shouldn't be Stark improving on Hank's technology. It should be the other way around. But Hank can come up with his own. He don't have to improve somebody else's anyway. But they have that, and that's where he essentially came up with being able to do the time travel. And I really do feel that it's the exact same thing that this Bengal is kind of allowing Kamala to do, except for maybe she just don't know how to utilize that power that it possesses in that way exactly. Because a lot of the things I've been talking about with some of the theories and stuff through things I've just found in the Eternals and looking into history and all these philosophies and all these different things out there in the world, that's kind of what Tony Stark did anyway. Was he like recreated this same thing that was already a technology out there being utilized in the Bangle, if you will. It's kind of space-time GPS and what they're doing there. And I do think it's interesting about the Bangle too, and I know we were talking about this last week, is do you think there's more than do you think Aisha has the other one and Kamala has the second one?
That could be the case there. Now I'm leaning towards yes, that's what's going to happen here. We'll see two at the same time. Maybe there were never were two. Maybe they really are just the same one, except when you go back in time, then there's two because like look, there's two at the same time. Maybe that could be the thing. You said something about the technology of the bangle, and like if Kamala, she's not going to be able to crack the code or recreate it. She does have a super smart friend in Bruno who's about to go to Caltech and further his intellect and maybe be the next Riri Williams, maybe. But we have a genius on the team, so I would say that it would take the two of them to make the most and tap into the bangle and all that it can produce.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely going to take two minds to figure all that out, I think. I mean, I think that's kind of what's has kind of been the recurring theme of a lot of this stuff throughout the MCU anyway, is kind of a collaboration of people and minds, if you will, for stuff like
Yeah,
that.
more so recently.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, but I think it's very interesting seeing all that stuff, and kind of what really made me think about like that theory with like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then thinking about Endgame and how they did all that again, because Tony Stark just copies everyone's technology. Is the fact that Ant-Man is so prominent throughout this series as much as Captain Marvel is, and I almost feel like there would be. I almost feel like we're gonna get an Ant-Man cameo as well, and I honestly don't think it would be too hard for Paul Rudd to come in here and do an Ant-Man cameo really quick, just as Scott Lang. He wouldn't even have to have on the suit, considering they've talked about his podcast and different things like that. And I mean, do you think there might be a Paul Rudd appearance?
No, but here I'm gonna add to your theory. They filmed Ms. Marvel and they were filming Ant-Man Wasp Quantumania also. So the guy's already on set. They can't just say, hey, stand in front of this green screen. You're already wearing the Ant-Man getup. Just say these couple lines and we're gonna use it for Ms. Marvel. Sign here, you'll get paid, don't worry. And they could do it. It's seamless. They don't have to bring him in. He doesn't have to get in shape. He's Ant-Man. Ant-Man's not in shape. So yeah, they're there. They could film stuff. They even filmed that Avengers Land. Hey guys, I'm Ant Man, and people keep asking me about Thanos. Did you see that clip on Twitter or anywhere?
I don't think I did. No.
There's a clip, yeah, in Avengers Land. They've got Falcon talking to the camera and saying, "Welcome, guys, to Avengers Land. Hey, be courteous to each other."
Huh.
And Ms. Marvel's there too. And basically, everyone who was filming a movie this last year, they shot something so that they can speak to the people who are visiting Avengers Land. I'm just saying,
Huh.
they have a lot of time while you're on set where they could say, "You're also going to be filming this little thing that we got for Ms. Marvel here." But the
Right.
thing is, it's a Disney Plus. We didn't even get Doctor Strange and WandaVision. We barely got Rhodey and Falcon Winter Soldier. They're not really including the major characters.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very very good point, and I didn't even really think about that since having not seen that clip. I'll have to go check that out. But very interesting because you're definitely right. Where when it comes to doing all this stuff, it's not very hard for them to just be filming. And for all we know, like Paul Rudd may have just filmed. He could have just filmed some stuff that they could put in this show, and then, like you said, they just say, "Here, just sign this. It's going to get you a little bit of extra money because we're doing you this little quick cameo in the show with some stuff that you've already shot."
Like, look, you don't even gotta act. Just repeat after me in the same tone that I say it. Hey, Kamala, it's me, Ant-Man. Hey, Kamala, it's me, Ant-Man. And they'll make him shrink and get him bigger. They'll shoot him from the back so that you don't actually got to see him. Yeah, they'll do everything they need to do.
Yeah, but I do have to rebut with about Ant-Man and Scott Lang
Rebut?
being buff. Yeah.
He's buff? He's not
Well,
buff.
well, I mean, if you watch the first one, he got pretty ripped up. He did the shirt off scene, and he had like the ribs. He got them cuts in there. He had a little bit of
He did.
abs. I don't think he normally has those, but I
That
mean,
movie
he
was
did do that.
2015.
You
That was a
know?
while ago.
Yeah,
So I
he
don't
didn't do the shirt off scene. I don't think he did the shirt off scene in Ant-Man 2. I don't think, or
know.
Ant-Man and Wasp. I don't think he did.
Nah. See, because the thing is, he was always at home. That fresh out prison body. Okay, that makes sense. But 2 hours of 2 years of house arrest. That's not gonna be the buff Ant-Man that you're asking for. Now, he could surprise us. He can pull a Kumail Nanjiani and show that he takes this Marvel stuff seriously.
Yeah.
That he's getting paid, man. He's set.
Yeah.
Thor does. Chris Hemsworth all the time, putting in all the work, and we commend that. And we can't wait for Thursday, Love and Thunder.
Absolutely.
I'm such a shill. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. Like, I can't wait. Speaking of which, I'm not sure if you're busy or have any plans or if you're able to. I think
You wanna
this
see the movie with
Friday.
Well, I'm not sure if you're busy, Chillmonger, but I can get a passport and plane ticket. We can go.
Well, if maybe. Well, I'll have to look into my schedule for that. But I think on
Check with the
Friday.
missus. Yeah.
I think on Friday
Sorry.
we were going to do a stream and just get some people together and kind of have a spoiler discussion and just talk about and just, I don't know, flap our
Yeah.
gums about it on Friday.
Shoot me
if
the
you're
invitation.
available. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like obviously we are going to get a Captain. There's got to be a Captain Marvel appearance in this show. It seems like they've kind of all led up to it at some point here. Probably the last episode, I would guess.
And she's gonna be the one to give her the name Ms. Marvel. She'll be, look, you're dressed up like me, huh, Ms. Marvel? Oh, and she'll be like, oh, she called me Ms. Marvel. I got the perfect name, and the show will end that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very well could be. I think one thing I definitely missed in this episode was I missed Agent Cleary and Agent what's her name from the DODC.
We don't miss her. She can go. Agent clearly was the one who was more considerate. Be more respectful. Hey, the FBI are already spying on them. Let's just be kind. And the other one with the shoes, yeah, we don't need her. You think she's not showing up again? Unless they go back to New Jersey in episode 6, she's not showing up.
It's the classic good cop, bad cop. But do you think that Cleary is really a good cop?
Good cop?
Yeah.
Is that just a fantasy? To quote Ice Cube?
Well, no, I just mean like the good cop, bad cop thing. Do you think he's really that nice and considerate?
Not in No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
He had a character change, but in No Way Home, he was very rugged, man. The way he was talking to Ned, he got answers out of Ned. Ooh, like a pro. He's not a good cop.
Yeah. I feel like there's something odd about him. I mean, I think we've talked about this before too. About maybe he's part of the Kree. Maybe he's a Skrull.
He could be a Skrull.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, and that's because I know one of the things, like, we haven't heard from Skrulls in a while. We know they're coming back. We know Secret Invasion's coming. We obviously know they're out there, but then I also think about the Kree as well, because we know they have the pink skin Krees and obviously dark skin, because I mean we had Jaimon Hansu there as Korath, who was he had dark skin. So I mean they've got the various different levels, but for the most part they're blue skin. Which seeing all that, thinking about all these things, like wondering, are these agents is Cleary or even his partner
I would love for
one of
Cleary to
them?
be a Skrull, and then his partner could be a Kree, and they could be under. Like there's a good reason for why
And neither
Cleary
of
would
them
have
know
such an
it.
interest, and neither of them know it.
That would be crazy.
Listen,
That
guys, we're gonna have a show called Secret Invasion. Part of Skrulls and their reveals is, oh, it was him the whole time. Like Agent Cleary is perfect for that. He's a Phase 4 character, so they definitely were thinking of that and had it in mind. If they do it with like Nick Fury, I'm gonna go, what? Him? He? No way, because it would be inconsistent with all of his appearances. But for something like Agent Cleary, it wouldn't be inconsistent, and I would get the surprise of, oh, it's him. Same with like Sharon Carter. Oh, she was a Kree the whole time, a Skrull the whole time. Well, where was the real one? Well, we gotta save her. Like there are two reveals right there for Secret Invasion, I think.
yeah. Definitely. Well, and there's all kinds of theories that Agent Hill was a scroll from the very beginning, anyway. But I don't. I
Well,
don't
she didn't
know.
have much lines. She wasn't very loud and vocal, so there's nothing I could point at where I would go, "Oh, wait, if they say that line, then you can't say that line either." Like I would do for Kenobi and Leia.
Right. Right. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Like I don't know. If they did that, obviously they probably didn't have that in place from the very start. Agent Hill was probably supposed to actually be Agent Hill, and it would almost feel a little bit cheap. If they do that with any of the characters that have been around for a while. Being revealed to be scrolls like Agent Hill
Mhm.
or anything like that. Like
A-
what they did
Agent
in
Hill was only a Skrull in Far From Home, not every other appearance.
right, and I feel like in Far From Home, that's why it kind of works because like it was something that was recent. Like it was just kind of just recently. Well, could have just recently happened. For all we know, a lot of the appearances could have been a scroll, but Nick Fury knew about them that we know of since at least 1996. Which is interesting too. 1996, considering that in Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, that took place in 96 as well, the same year.
You mean the flashback? What
Hmm.
what what 96? But what
Yeah,
exactly was it?
the flashback with like the kids and everything when he was getting ready to go out. That wasn't on his first mission, but it was
Okay,
definitely.
the
I think it was
teenage.
when he actually went in search of Tao Lo.
Uh,
Yeah, interesting how it's like some of the time frames that they work with uh throughout the show and everything, which kind of brings me even into like the back into the Ms. Marvel thing, where you look at when partition was happening, just all those years would have been around the same time that the World War II was going on, around the
yeah,
same time that Captain America would have been sunken, going into the ice.
yeah.
Very very interesting. All of these things, and something I noticed they've really been doing here in Phase 4 is playing on the timelines and going into
Yo, are
human
you
history.
telling me that Kamala's gonna say, "Wait, it's 1947. I should go to free Captain America from the ice that he's in, and I'm gonna, use my hard light to go swim and free him. I'll make it more easier to get him." Is she the reason why?
Bob, that would be interesting. That would
That was,
definitely
that was
be
she's a
very
super
interesting.
fan. That's what she would do. She's like, I can't mess with the time stream. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find Captain America and make sure he's comfortable in his ice,
Very
move
well
him where he
could
can be
be.
found.
Yeah, because you know what, it would interesting because if he did, dying or not dying, I guess, being frozen in the plane like that. When we did see him, he was kind of just laid out.
Yeah.
I doubt he crashed like that.
Yeah, it
He
was
got frozen.
Kamala or Namor, one of them.
Yes. And
In comic books, it was Namor. If you guys go all the way back to 1963, Avengers issue number 4, it's Namor.
well, and there you go. There you
I'm
go.
probably wrong about that. I got probably one of those numbers wrong. Either the year was wrong or the issue was wrong, but it was definitely Namor.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't remember because I do know like in those first handful of issues of the Avengers, basically Hulk felt like an outcast from the team, and he's like, you know what, like I'm out of here. He split, and that's when Namor stepped in. And is like, oh, hey Hulk, let's work together, buddy. And they were kind of basically antagonists of the Avengers, and yeah, that did happen within those first few issues there. where they
Isn't it
kind of teamed up
amazing how
together.
we can recall those first few issues, but when you talk about the most recent Avengers volume, we're like, what even happened in the first four issues? It was all like one story that really never stopped. It was like four parts of a six-part story. But
Hmm.
over back then, they would have a beginning, middle, end all in issue one, a beginning,
Right.
middle, end all in issue two. Here they just kind of prolong everything so that you could purchase that big trade paperback.
Right. Yes. I was gonna say, and that's something definitely about the comic books that I don't like as much these days when it comes to some of those kinds of things where you get into those older issues. And you know what? And they took a lot longer to read too, because there's more in there, more reading to do. But there's definitely a full story there in one book. You get to the beginning, like you said, the middle, the end.
Yeah,
Where nowadays, to get that, you're talking 5 issues, 6 issues to get there, maybe 4 occasionally.
occasionally.
Yeah, and I've noticed like it seems like that's what these shows are starting to kind of follow, that same kind of format where it's kind of, the shows are a little bit more, spread out, where you're getting that 6 issue mini series for these characters telling these stories, as opposed to, you watch the movies that has the beginning and the middle and the end. And I think that's something I've kind of been talking about with these shows, as far as the Marvel ones, definitely, even like the Star Wars, where I feel like us as fans, like, people are really talked down and looked down on these shows, as well as I feel the same way about them. We're like, yeah, the quality just isn't there, in the fact that they are just shows. They're just adding to it, and they are going to be that slower pace, where I still have that expectation of the cinematic universe, because these shows are tied to these cinematic universes that I'm used to watching on the big screen, where I think that's something hugely different from watching like a Game of Thrones, a Sons of Anarchy, where they don't have a larger universe to go into. And I have that same expectation of, even though I don't watch those shows, but it's different in that sense.
Yeah, not yet. HBO Max are getting ready to further the Game of Thrones story because it's just like you say, content.
Hmm.
With oh man, you said something important. I was gonna ask you, the quality of the films are there always. Has any Disney Plus series surpassed a film from Phase 4? So what is your worst film and is the best Disney Plus better than it?
My least favorite film in Phase 4, I would probably have to say, man, you know what? I almost feel bad saying this. Nah, not really. It's probably Black Widow. And
Is the best Disney Plus show better than Black Widow though?
that's where I have a hard time saying yes to any of them, because I don't think any of them have really matched it. I really loved WandaVision, but even it, um but I think that was the good thing about it, was because it was doing that whole TV show thing, but it
Yeah.
really just definitely had that same kind of feel. Some of the stuff didn't feel as cinematic. It felt very kind of lower budget. I think the closest that there has been to something that I would expect out of any of the movies has probably been Hawkeye. Definitely getting there. But I think Moon Knight started to get there. It seems a lot more cinematic, and Ms. Marvel was feeling more cinematic. But as it's
Uh-huh.
gone on, it's feeling more TV show like. But it looks cinematic and it's shot really well.
And they
Um,
have two more episodes to get you there to the cinematic quality.
hmm. Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I mean, I think it's close. This one and Moon Knight definitely close, but I still don't feel that they're quite there. But 2 more episodes. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it plays out.
Moon Knight had some high quality acting over by Poe by Oscar Isaac, but Kamala Khan, not that she's a bad actress, it's just that it's not Oscar Isaac, or it's not the performance of Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner, Vision, Paul Bettany. It's not the same performance that those two were giving.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Although I will say, I think Iman Vellani was well cast, and for being like her first real acting gig, I think she's actually doing really great in this show, because like seeing the way she's acting, reacting to what's going on, she can emote really well.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I can't remember if we discussed this last week or not, but at the wedding, or at the part where you see the father talking to the son, giving that little speech
Yeah, she's
about
in the
being a
back.
man, and she's in the background. Like there was like in that scene, I swear it looks like they probably digitally enhanced her face a little bit. It
Oh,
just looked like to me. I'm not for sure,
bro,
but
that's
it
a
just looked a
Marvel
little too
hater.
clean.
No, that we're not
It
gonna
looked.
stand for that. They digitally changed her face to make her act better.
I
Did they
wouldn't.
get the eyebrows lower? Come on.
I wouldn't
You think
say I wouldn't say digitally change her face, but enhance. You know how they do some of the, you know, like just some of those things.
a filter?
Yeah, it looked like it had a filter on it more so than a lot of the other throughout the rest of the show. Although every like just in her looks, because I don't think
Okay,
like in
listen.
her
If
emoting
she
or
didn't,
anything.
if she had a filter on, then okay, you're right. But if she didn't, she's a phenomenal actress.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think everything I've seen throughout this show, her reacting to everybody and how she's been acting in general, I think she's doing a kick-ass job because I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, man, I feel the emotions of this character. I can feel what she's trying to convey and all of that stuff throughout this series. I think she's been doing a phenomenal job, and I think she could very well be on her way. Like getting her next to other bigger, better actors is only going to help her improve because I think she's doing just a great job
She
in
hasn't
actual
had
acting.
there's no scene though where she's just face to face with somebody and just kind of monologuing on him or something. There hasn't been that
Right,
maybe opportunity to show her chops yet. Maybe they're even masking her. They're masking her as in like they're hiding her faults because they don't want to expose her to this and
right.
have her, oh, I was bad and people on the internet know that I'm bad now. So maybe they just won't do that for her for season 1. Maybe it's coming in Captain Marvel 2.
Right. Yeah, and it very well could be because like I said, I mean, I think she's been doing good and they certainly could be playing to her strengths
Yeah.
through what they're shooting because that's something I will definitely say about Wonder Woman and Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot by all means is a beautiful woman, but I do not feel like she is a good actor whatsoever in some of those things and just the way she emotes on camera and stuff like that. I just don't feel any real kind of emotional weight. She can smile and make you feel warm inside. That's about it. That's I mean, she can do that. Her skill set is very limited. And I feel like in the Wonder Woman movies, the only reason that she did so good is the fact that they played Patty Jenkins definitely played to her strengths in both of those films. And I think you
Yeah.
see less of it in the second one, but definitely in the first one, they really played to that, to what she can do well. And I feel that here, though, Iman Vellani is definitely just showing more chops altogether. But I do still kind of feel like you're right; they are playing to her strengths as well, as opposed to just putting her, just like, just basically throwing, out of the frying pan into the fire, right?
Yeah. For me, Gal Gadot is completely immune from criticism. Because I don't know if it's the accent for me. It's like she speaks English differently, so maybe that contributes to the delivery, and so I just let that one go. But I'll enjoy the Wonder Woman movies forever because I'm a superhero guy. Hey, there was a weird thing that I wrote down when the Red Dagger, the original one, Kareem, was like fighting her and throwing daggers at her, and she's over here using shields to protect herself and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why the frick would you follow that guy? Oh, the police are coming. Hey, come with me. He joked, come with me, like the Terminator joke.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if a guy just as soon as I saw him started fighting me, I'm not about to continue like following you to wherever you gotta go, where your lair is at the back of a restaurant. That's some bizarre shit that it's similar to in Star Wars when Rey was meeting up with Ben and kissing Ben. I'm like, this guy will been oppressing you and hunting you down for 3 films. All of a sudden, you're nice just because he was nice to you.
The
No,
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
that one, Stockholm
Mm-hmm.
syndrome. That's not good. We shouldn't be telling our kids that message. They needed an editor to go and see that one through. They needed more of they needed Kareem to maybe save her. They need to justify why she would be following him because if not, it's Stockholm syndrome, and I don't want my superheroes depicting that.
Right. Well, I would say in that case that this is where I need to insert a Matrix gif where it says, "You do not truly know somebody until you fight them."
Ooh,
But yeah, no,
That's a better explanation than what they gave us.
yeah, no, I do understand that though too. Like you're saying, like dude, this guy just came up and just started fighting you, and then all of a sudden some other guy came in. You know, there's some other opposition, and all of a sudden, who by all means who are no threat, security at that little train station probably aren't any threat. Like at worst, they got guns.
Uh-huh.
You know, and they're just saying, hey, you can't be here. In the first place. Yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really even think about that until you brought that up. But it's certainly a good point. Like, dude, like, why are you trusting this guy?
Right? He
Yeah,
was cute under the mask. He was very attractive.
yeah. I think that's what maybe it's because like maybe she didn't really feel threatened by him, and it was just kind of it was a flirty thing. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, teenage angst,
Yeah, I
and
don't know what the kids are into these days.
they're into that Stockholm.
Yeah,
That's the Stockholm challenge on TikTok. You didn't know about that one?
Right, it probably is. I mean, all these people seem to eat up the Guardians movies so much, and that's all that movie is a band of people
Oh,
with Stockholm syndrome.
is Trinity more like guys in the comments section? Is he a Stark hater or a Guardians hater? Like which soapbox does he get on the highest for? Right?
Ooh, man, yeah, that's a good question. But anybody that knows I may not like Tony Stark, but it's Guardians. Yeah, man, it's a band it's a band full of people who got the Stockholm syndrome. I mean, if you think about Rocket, you know, kind of his thing. You think about Drax, definitely. You know, he's out for
Yeah.
revenge, but like I don't know. And then you get in Peter Quill. He's definitely got the Stockholm syndrome for the child trafficker they tried to redeem in Volume 2. And then, well, actually, they did redeem him, right? Didn't they? They actually really did do that. And then you think about Gamora and Nebula. They definitely got the Stockholm syndrome. I'm like, dang, man. Dang.
Dang.
Oh, man, we took a really serious turn there. But I think the kids are into that these days, I think, from what we've noticed.
Totally. Olivia Rodrigo's got a song coming out about it. You'll see.
Oh, man. So, um,
So the
I,
chase scene at the end was pretty unspectacular. The main dude of
yeah.
the leader of the Red Dagger gets stabbed. No blood because it's a Disney Plus show, and that's too bad. You know, whenever you do a death, you want it to be impactful and have stakes.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness succeeded in because they were alternate versions of characters we're familiar with, so there was a little bit more when they died, but still, it was like this was really pretty useless to me. This
Yeah.
death wasn't impactful to me. She probably should have had another brother or something in the show, and then they could kill off the brother. I know that would be
Right.
changing from, yeah.
Well, yeah, as I'm saying, because that's the thing is like if you get in like that in chasing, it's totally Disney, right? I mean, it's
Mhm.
totally a Disney thing. Like, oh, hey, silly little chasing, some stuff goes on. Pew, pew. Oh, our enemies are silly guys. They're after you. They're dressed funny. Look, they're dressed in disguises.
And
Um,
Kamala can't drive. Look, my God, this is hilarious.
yeah, it's like I said. I think there's like, and I feel like that's. I mean, it's not that's not even being nitpicky, but in the larger scheme of things, it's kind of like we've been talking about here is with some of these things is like some of this stuff like we just don't need. We don't need in the show. We need the action. We need to further this story in these 6 episodes. And I think that's kind of been the fault of a lot of these series is kind of spending too much time on certain things and doing these kind of things throughout the show. Where even you look at like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like it was such a mess, but they actually had some of those scenes that were kind of impactful in that sense, like
Yeah.
Battlestar when he died and stuff like that. It actually meant something
Mhm.
for the larger story, and it wasn't silly. But it was kind of a mess of everything going on too, though.
Disagree.
Oh,
Battlestar's death was incredibly impactful, and there was no mess.
what do you mean?
I just mean when you say there was a whole mess. I don't know what you're talking about, so that's what I disagree with. Like, what mess? What do you mean?
Well, I just think like the show itself, it was like a little messy and sloppy. You know, all the rewrites and edits they had to do that show that really did affect
Uh,
the story and everything. Like that
yeah,
was messy.
It, like in the early episode when there were some vaccines that needed to be collected from the truck, there was a high speed chase. In the show, they changed that for from vaccines that are going to help people to like just aid. I think they never actually said it would be that. And that's kind of the whole Carly Morgenthau motivation. You guys know
Right.
this. We're not telling anyone something they don't already know.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I'm again, I think there are just again things that they don't need to be doing in here quite so much of that they could easily cut out and give us, I guess, a little bit more meat with our potatoes. But are there? I've gone into plenty of things with like the theories and things. We see they've got even more leaks for Black Panther coming out.
Yeah.
With Namor, Atuma, and things like that, which I think is kind of interesting that we're gonna have Namor and Atuma show up in Black Panther. When like I'm not sure how that works. Like, who's the enemy here? Who's the hero? What's it seems like is there going to be two enemies for Wakanda? We can't say T'Challa to deal with in this movie.
Bro, this movie is a mess, and I don't even want to defend it, bro. I saw a couple of the pictures, and like, what can I say that's not going to be repetitive, bro? Namor, his skin color is white. Whether you want to like, I don't know, be diverse or not, that's the color of his skin in the comic books. If you want to do something diverse, go find some relatively unknown, obscure Latino superhero with a little bit of a darker complexion, and then give him the 200 million budget, give him the marketing budget, and create the brand new hit superhero. If you're not going to do that, and you'd rather, we'll just take an existing thing like Namor and change his skin color. That's not even the question you asked me, Trinity. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're asking me. Yeah, Namor, that's stupid. Like, is he going to be the villain? Sure, he'll be the villain. He's not going to be the anti-hero that we know from comic books, and that'll be fine. He can have his redemption in another movie. We're watched Wanda. Wanda started off as a villain in Avengers, and then in the same movie she becomes an Avenger. She's like on the bad side in Civil War, and then she also becomes good again in WandaVision. She gets manipulated, and then here we are at Doctor Strange, where whoa, she is traveling the multiverse just to use America Chavez. People can have their switches. So is Namor going to be the villain in this movie? Yes, he'll be completely the villain. They'll redeem him later because even Loki is liked right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dang, and there was something in there that you were kind of getting into that I was gonna discuss as well, but yeah, I don't know. Most of it comes back to those. It was something you guys were talking about yesterday. I asked a question. I put a question in your chat, and I don't think anybody really responded or anything. But speaking of after we got
We got a lot of live chat. Sorry.
right. Oh yeah, no. Well, I was expecting like somebody in the like even in the chats to be like, oh hey. But the thing is like we got Moon Knight who we seen was like an avatar for Khonshu, and people are talking about Bast here as well. The Panther God. And I think it's very interesting because that's kind of where Namor is going with the whole Panther God thing, as far as the Aztec culture supposedly. And
Yeah.
then you think about Bass there for Wakanda. And my question was, do you think that the Black Panther is an avatar for Bast or just a protector?
I think for the sake of continuing continuity, yes, Panther God Avatar. That's why it's so selective with who is allowed to be a Black Panther. Does that mean though that there could only be one Avatar? No, actually, if we're looking at Moon Knight, he's got three avatars of Khonshu because Steven, Jake, and Mark. So yeah, yes, Black Panther's totally an avatar of Bast. Why not?
Okay. All right, fair enough. And I only asked that because what I was looking at, what I was thinking about with these with like the whole Avatar thing, is that Moon Knight was basically kind of at the behest of Khonshu, of this god that was speaking to him, and he was acting on his behalf. Where I feel like Bast is a different thing. And also when we get into Moon Knight, we've seen that there was only those few gods that were still there that were still active and still alive and not basically entrapped in the Ushabti. And that's what I was thinking. Like, if you get into Black Panther, he's not necessarily controlled or at the behest of Bast. It feels like they're more just like a protector. And also, we did see. I feel like if there is an avatar, it might be somebody else that they speak to and they act on their behalf. Possibly. Because we don't see the Black Panther out there actually at the behest of somebody else, just more of a protector of Wakanda, and things like that. That's what, because I was kind of thinking about that. Like, maybe Bast could actually, maybe Namor is, if that's what they're doing, because they're talking about the Panther God, maybe that's his avatar, or Bast's avatar, I guess. Actually, there were maybe just Wakanda and the Black Panther's just more of the protector of those kind of secrets and things. I don't know. I mean, because I think it's very interesting thinking about those kinds of things.
And it's not like it's going to be one of those involved gods. Right. Bast is not one of those colonizers. Bast is a little bit more free with the avatars.
Yeah. Yeah, it could
and there was this whole look. They said there was 9 actual gods in the first episode of Moon Knight. We only got to see 7 of them. Isn't that right?
Right.
I might be wrong. No, they said there would be 11, but we only got to see 9 of them.
Oh, was it? I thought it was 10. Was it 10? I don't know. I can't remember.
But what I'm trying to get at is that there were some missing, and maybe Bast was one of those, quote, African gods that were not used, so we just didn't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you're saying, too, I think there could be multiple people out there, because all of these ancient civilizations had their own versions of these gods that they looked to and worshipped. I mean, just like Zeus, Odin, and they're different mythologies where you have the same thing in like Hermes in different cultures, where you even seen like things like Makari, who is basically kind of that these fast, like the fast people, the speedy people, and just things like that. I mean, it makes me think that maybe all of these gods could have multiple avatars, because they have these different cultures who actually worship them and as their gods in that sense. Because one of the things I even seen in Moon Knight was that they talked about one of the Aztec gods, who was actually the moon goddess for the Aztec people. And it's like, well, that's what Khonshu is for Moon Knight in the Egyptian culture, essentially.
It's there.
And then also with all of that too, looking at the different cultures, where we see even here in Ms. Marvel, where they showed the partition, they were talking about the British basically going in there, who had possibly already raided that tomb there where the bangle was, which I think easily could have been somebody else, like maybe even Wenwu. Because they did say there that he got those rings from a tomb or a crater. You didn't really know.
Ooh, maybe his 10 rings are a bangle that he just divided into 10 pieces.
Well, and that's
right there.
Yeah, I was saying, and there you go. Because like my theories have kind of been that all this technology kind of comes from that same thing. Because you even get into the Eternals, where they were in Tenochtitlan, which is where this Namor's roots are supposed to be rooted in, is in Tenochtitlan, which is very interesting when you get into some of that kind of stuff as well. But in the Eternals, we actually seen where I believe it would have been like the Spanish invasion, where they were there at war there in Tenochtitlan when all that was kind of going down, and they would have obviously been after kind of same stuff we've been talking about, the Fountain of Youth, gold, and those kinds of things for money, power, and wealth.
El Dorado, the city of gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and all of these things being referenced.
That was the first Black Panther that they said that, so they were cooking this El Dorado stuff in the next Black Panther.
Yeah, and it makes me think that that's kind of maybe where we got vibranium from in the first place, or where we're possibly even being teased the roots of say like Wolverine. Because we know that, obviously there's been rumors of talks with Taron Egerton, and people are thinking that he's going to be Wolverine. I kind of feel like they've already got Wolverine cast, if you ask me, but I could be wrong there.
It could be Taron Egerton. He had a meeting with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's very interesting because he's British, right? I think he's British, and we're sitting here talking about the partition, the British invasion. There, people going through raiding the tombs.
Yes.
We obviously see where were they? London, where they had a lot of these artifacts, and I feel like so much of this stuff, I feel like I wonder if they're going to even change Wolverine in the MCU, where maybe he is going to end up being British, or maybe.
La 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 la.
Ah,
No.
or maybe he could very well could be Canadian, and maybe he was through just even things we've seen in, like, say, the Wolverine movies. Maybe he just went and found war, and he ended up in Britain, and he ended up being a British soldier with some of that stuff, and ended up getting experimented on.
We need one, man. We need one.
Yeah.
My oven mitts.
Nice. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that they're like I said, they're showing through the history in these shows, in the actual human history, and going into some of those different things for these shows and going forward with these characters. I think they're going to be changing a lot of the backgrounds of some of these characters. Unfortunately, I mean, we can obviously see with a big character like Namor, that it doesn't seem like they even batted an eye in making that change.
Word.
And I think if they do the same thing with Wolverine, people are going to be upset. But I think that's very much what they're doing.
It's kind of less of an upset because the skin color matches. It's just really about a nationality of the colonizing force. So whatever.
Right. Well, and let's face it. I mean, all the white people in Canada, they didn't get there because they were born there. Most of them came from
accurate.
Most of them came over from I guess Europe essentially. Anyway, so there you go.
They're all Eastern white people that just had kids. Yeah, as long as he can do the voice.
Those dang colonizers, man.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with if a guy can do the voice and he's short and he's hairy. He kind of looks like Logan. I'm good with that casting.
Yeah.
I'm also good with anybody, really, as long as they can commit to a 30-year commitment, the same way Hugh Jackman kind of did for 20 years.
And hopefully they can commit to lifting weights to get fit for the role.
Oh, you gotta have that. They could CGI it the same way they CGI Iman Vellani's acting. Yeah, that'd be cool. If they could give us the accurate Wolverine this time, who's really short and has got the right hair and wears the yellow spandex like he does on the posters I got, then yes, give me that.
Yes, we definitely need the yellow spandex for sure. And the shortness. And he's got to be a hairy son. You know what? And that's why I've always said, I know people don't like the Daniel Radcliffe thing. But I mean, he matches the profile perfectly good. He's a good actor. Do you see him as mean and intimidating? Probably not. But I think if he put on a good 20 pounds of muscle and furrowed his brow a little bit, he might be a little intimidating.
Here's why he can't do it. They're going to do a Harry Potter with Daniel Radcliffe's kid. And to do that, he's not going to be all buff and stuff as Harry Potter.
You never know. I don't know. I think it very well could be Taron Egerton, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I think they are going to be changing the roots of a lot of these characters, and I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be critical about the different things that are going on. Obviously, they're going to be changing stuff up, and that's kind of what we're seeing here in Ms. Marvel. They're talking about the Djinn. We're talking about Inhumans, and do you think by the end of the show she's going to end up being an Inhuman?
No, I don't think so, but I hope so.
I don't think so either. But I'm thinking there might be some roots to that because we're hearing different rumors out there as well about a royal family actually being on the moon. They've been talking about the moon anyway throughout these series. I mean, you go back to Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, that's where they're like,
Steve is on the moon.
Steve's on the moon, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think that the what we've seen in Doctor Strange, that base was on the moon. So I think there's definitely something to it. But anyway, I think that's all I've got. Do you have any other theories or thoughts on episode 4?
Got it all out of me.
All right.
I was looking at my notes a couple times, like, what did I forget to say? But yeah, you got it.
All right, good deal. Well, do you have anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
On Saturday, as usual, I usually do 33 burning questions, and Oh, Thor, Love and Thunder. I'll talk about that film. Perp invited me on his YouTube channel, Perp Minded, and I'll be talking about it online. And then you're gonna send me a link, and I'll talk to you when? Is it Friday or Thursday?
We'll probably end up doing Friday.
Morning or afternoon or evening?
It'll probably be evening.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, for sure.
You'll see me here on Second Street Marvel.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Always great to have you on. Chillmonger, thank you again so much for being here. Guys, if you are watching this and you like what you see, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. Make sure that you go and follow my man Chillmonger. There's a link down in the description where you can do that. But thank you all so much for being here. Make sure you leave some comments down in the comment section. Share this video out with your friends. And we'll see you all in the next video. Later.